Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to 101 on Arsenal, and we're here to talk about Arsenal versus Leicester City, week two. It's going to be absolutely a lively game. Both teams really looking to solidify themselves and set some kind of tempo for this season. I'm here with Jamie from Leicester Fan TV. Jamie, how are you getting on, bro?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for the invite.
Not too bad. And hold on, let me get the volume. All right, okay, I think the volume's a little bit better now. So Jamie, first of all, um, Arsenal got off to a winning start last week. They took out Crystal Palace, really tough game Friday night, but thanks to Martinelli and Saka's, getting his own goal, they took which was a very difficult place. I mean, not a lot of teams are going to go to Crystal Palace and come away with points. And so I thought they did really well in that respect. But let's talk about Leicester. Leicester looked like they were going to take all 3 points against Brentford, but the Bees came back from 2-0 down and drew 2-2. And obviously, Brendan Rodgers is going to be hoping that his side can avoid dropping points in their second game. It was a good performance for Leicester for about 65 minutes. And what was your sort of view of the game as a whole?
Um, I think the way we set up to begin with was a decent setup, but I think we were lacking in the attacks. You only played one striker, and when we played five at the back, well, three at the back with two wing backs, you always kind of see the two forwards instead of the wingers. And when we played them, we controlled the midfield like we would because obviously we've got so many midfielders in that game. But then the moment we took off our best midfielder in the game, as in Dewsbury Hall, it kind of just flipped, and they made some good substitutions, put more width on, brought on De Silva, and I can't remember the other name for their other side winger, and it just changed the game for them. Obviously, we went more narrow, they were more wide, and it just showed that they were being the ones who wanted to try and progress the ball up the pitch and try and get the goals, and it showed it. Um, but the only problem is Brendan Rodgers had five subs to use. He only used one. And in
Uh,
my eyes, was it because Brendan Rodgers forgot? No. He might have thought in that moment of time he just thought it was the right move to make. I think
yeah.
every other fan in the ground was saying that we needed to make the team different because in his press conference after the game he said the players were fatigued, and does that mean you have to take them off and refresh the team? Probably so. So I don't want to put the blame on Rodgers for drawing the game, but then again, Brentford made the good changes to equalise when we didn't even change it to kind of stop the equalise. So it's here or there. I think a point is good for a starting game, but it's not good. We need to beat them sort of teams if we want to be progressing up into the top half of the table, and we didn't do that. So.
So let me talk to Linus says, what's going on? He says, thanks for the Hungarian Grand Prix. Big shout out to you, my friend. Big shout out. I really enjoyed my time in Hungary last week, and I'm looking forward to going back and visiting the city. Beautiful city. Love the track. I mean, I know a lot of people say you can't overtake on it, but yeah, I mean, the way the cars have changed, now you can. Kuke says, hey, Jamie, what's up? You're starting to get some stuff out there now. Kuke says they look so shaky at the back when Brentford put pressure on Armoty in particular. Looked well off it. I think that's a lot for some players. You guys, you got to remember this is the first game of the season. Some teams, Man United lost their game. Liverpool against Fulham, we saw what happened there. It's not as easy and rosy as everybody thinks it is. So, Stan the man, big shout out to you from Vancouver. Big shout out, my brother, man. Love your vibe, Stan. And so it's not easy for these teams to really, it takes them a little bit of time to get settled into the season. And we know from last season, Arsenal, when we lost our first three games, that sometimes it just doesn't work out for teams at the start of the season. So Arsenal have won their first three Premier League matches against the past three Premier League matches against Leicester, scoring 7 goals, conceding 1. Leicester's kept, I think, 1 clean sheet in their previous 26 away games in Premier League matches. So, Jamie, would you say that the challenge for you and Leicester is to try and shut Arsenal out, try and focus on keeping it tight at the back and hoping to sort of, come away with a point at least?
I've always been optimistic about the games against the big teams, and for me, it's not about shutting you down, because if you're trying to defend a lot more, you've got less likely to score. And for me, you've got to play the big boys at the same game, and players like the teams like Man City and all that. You need to be aggressive on them and just make sure you stay at the back the times when you get countered. And for me, I can't see us being defensive against you. Yes, at times we'll probably be sitting back, but with the team we've got, people like Vardy and like that, against Arsenal, he always has a chance to score, and he only does
He
that
always
from the balls
scores.
over the top. He only does that from
Vardy
the balls over
always
the top.
scores. I don't know how many goals he's got against Arsenal, but it must be about the same as Harry Kane. He scores every single
Yeah.
time. 18 says Leicester will be dangerous. Stan says, looking forward to hearing how Tielemans is viewed as a player by one of their own. Yeah, we're going to come on to that. First, let's just cover a little bit of Arsenal. Arsenal are set to start with the same team that beat Palace. I wouldn't change it. I put some polls up on the YouTube channel, asking guys about different variations, talking about, would you bring in Tomiyasu? Would you bring in Tierney? And I think the vibe from most of the Arsenal fans is, look, let's just go with the same team, build some stability, which includes Saliba, Jesus, and Zinchenko. There's no major injuries as well, or suspensions to contend with. So, and Thomas Partey's been an integral part of Arteta's plans when he's available. So I'm not sure what the Tielemans thing is. Tielemans is likely going to be our number 8 and play alongside. We'll have that midfield with Odegaard, Partey, and Tielemans if it happens. But I'm starting to get the feeling now that if Leicester doesn't drop their demands, then Arsenal might just leave it until next year where they can get him for free. I think they might do that, which is great news for Leicester. But I know some Arsenal fans would be really ticked off because they wouldn't want to go into a season with the number 8 role being sort of locked down. Another season of Xhaka just means if you look at what he's done in terms of goals and assists, it's not a lot. He'll get 1 goal, maybe 1 or 2 assists in a season. Someone like Tielemans will get you 6 goals, 5 assists, and he's just a very productive player. But again, guys, remember we have Fabio Vieira, we have Zinchenko, so I think it won't be as stable as you guys think it is. And Arsenal also are looking at Neto from Wolves, someone that Leicester City actually is also looking at as well. So as I said, guys, Tomiyasu, Fabio Vieira, Marquinhos named in the squad, Tierney, Smith Rowe. So that bench is going to be as strong as ever. As for Leicester City, team news for you guys. I mean, obviously, Maddison, he played really well last week. Tielemans is going to play, and he's going to show Arsenal what they're missing. So that's just going to make them dangerous. Fofana, they've got some good quality players, but Leicester have not made any signings this summer. And, they finished the season 9th place. And for me, that makeshift defense is where they were struggling last season. So how would you, in terms of team news, how are you going into the game, Jamie?
It's hard to say because Barnes is out. Rodgers is kind of forced into more of the 5 at the back / 3 at the back like we played against Brentford. And I think the midfield worked because we dominated Brentford most of the game, but I just feel like we missed the attack a lot more. And yes, we scored 2 goals before they even scored, but I think with Vardy on his own, he needs that more. He needs that support in someone like Daka or Kelechi and Acho to kind of hold the ball up for him while he makes runs. And I think we will stay a 3 at the back. I think we'll still play pretty much the same 11, but I'll maybe take one player out the midfield, probably. And this is going to sound really stupid, but I'd take your Tielemans out. From last season.
Wow.
I think me and quite a few Leicester fans from last season really didn't rate him from how he played last season. And Arsenal fans could see it very differently and think that he's that sort of player they probably need, which he probably is. But I think out of all the midfielders we have and will start, I think he'll be the one I drop and put in probably another striker instead of having a midfielder there.
Oh, it's one of those things for me where it's you look at Leicester City and you think to yourself that might be a smart move to drop Tielemans. We've seen other teams do it before, and they desperately need some continuity. And I think ideally, Rodgers would like to play Iheanacho and Vardy up top because who wouldn't want to do that? These guys are just a wrecking ball on the front line. But they started well last season, winning 2 of their first 3 games. But as I said, it all comes down to defense and injuries. You guys suffer a lot of injuries. I'm an Arsenal fan. I know what that feels like. When we had Partey out, Tomiyasu and Tierney, we failed to keep a clean sheet in our last 10 games, actually. So I can feel that. But I think it all comes down, Jamie, it all comes down to this. If Leicester have the resources to make moves in this transfer window, that will serve immediate attention to fix their problems. And, I think Danny Ward has always kind of done a good job when called upon in terms of your goalkeeper. I know you lost Schmeichel, but I can see things happening there. I really can. The question for you is, let me just put up some 4 players and let me know if that's something, because I talk to a lot of football agents. They say a lot of, they give me a lot of heads up and everything. And these players are linked to Leicester. And when I say linked to, Leicester have made phone calls inquiring about them. It doesn't mean much these days because teams make a lot of calls just to inquire about players all the time. I think Arsenal have called about 19 players this summer, but they've only put on bids for, 5 or 6. So what's your opinion on this? Would Oxlade-Chamberlain, Harry Winks, Nicholas Pepe from Arsenal, Ryan Kent, who plays for Rangers, give me a deal or no deal on these guys?
Chamberlain, no deal. I wouldn't have him. I think he's been around too much, and for me, maybe he's showing the quality in certain games, but he just isn't consistent enough for me. Harry Winks, again, I think he's just not the quality we need. I think even like our youngster, Kieran Dewsbury-Hall, I think is probably a better kind of ranked player than him. But the other 2 players in Nicholas Pepe that I was really highly interested in when we were linked with him, because we need to still fill that right wing up spot. And because you weren't playing him as much and he was going quite cheap, I would have took him easily. But I think that's kind of died down as well. And then Ryan Kent, again, he's a winger that we're desperately needing, because we've only really got one main winger on when he's available, and that's Harvey Barnes. Other than that, we just don't have any other wingers, so that's when we are forced to play 3 at the back.
So that's why you inquired on Nicholas Pepe. His wages is 140 grand a week, so that might be a problem. I know Vardy, I think, is on 120.
Yeah.
And so that would make Pepe your highest player. So that would be a problem. If the deal doesn't get done or it doesn't go any further, that will be the reason why, because the wages are too high. I do like Ryan Kent. I've watched him for Rangers. He's a very Leicester type player. I do like the fit. And as you know, Brendan Rodgers, he keeps an eye on that league, and the Scottish league is very, very big for him. He'll take a lot of players from that league, and he's probably one of them. Haniumi says, will Tielemans be playing? He's basically our player. So look, Tielemans is out of a contract at Leicester next City, and at this stage, he's showing no sign of penning a contract extension, meaning that they need to cash in on him. So they're trying to get as much as they can for him, while Arsenal are looking like, Arsenal are playing the long game. They'll wait it out, they'll sit it out, and Leicester will be forced into a situation where they'll have to take a little bit less for the player, knowing that they'll get some money in for them to go and buy a replacement. Because those 4 players I mentioned, an Oxlade-Chamberlain playing out wide or in the middle of the park for Leicester would be a good move. It would be a decent move. But I think at the end of the day, it's really down to Leicester in terms of the narrative. We've seen what Leeds have done with Rafinha. They didn't budge and ended up getting exactly what they wanted. But it doesn't always work out that way for a lot of teams. My biggest question, though, for Leicester, let me let you answer the Tielemans question first. What would you, as a Leicester fan, think would be the right thing to do for Leicester City as far as Tielemans goes? Would you just say, all right, let's take 20 for him, or would you hold out for 30?
With the contract he's on, and he's not. Well, we've offered him another contract for a year to make sure that we can still get money from next year. It doesn't look like he's going to take it. So I think, if anything, we're going to have to take 20. I I don't think we'll get 30 at this stage anyway, because like I say, he's on his last year of his contract, so 20 is probably enough. But it's just a shame because we did buy him for about 40, so we are going to lose on him. But in my own opinion, and before pre-season started for us, I didn't want to see Youri Tillmans in another Leicester shirt, because with how he was with the transfer news, and you apparently, I think at one point he was that close to joining you before you did sign that other centre mid. For me, I kind of lost respect for him because he just didn't look like he was interested in the games last season, near the end of the season. So for me, I'd rather see him gone for 20 instead of going for free, really. I'd rather get some money for him.
So that makes a lot of sense because, I've been told from my sources that he had already sorted personal terms out and was talking to Edu from March. So what you just said makes a lot of sense because his head was already somewhere else. Gerard, a big shout out to you, my brother. I hope you're doing well. Cool K says, Vardy and Maddison could rip us apart at the break. I don't think it would be as comfy as people think. And then he goes on to say, having seen some of the statistics from the Palace game, Palace came in hard for us, man. I mean, they're a good team. And as I said, I'm surprised that Arsenal was able to do a job on them. It says this game would be far more manageable. Palace had an insane amount of pressure on the ball. Big shout out to Mr. Bungle, always a big favourite of mine. 18 says Mr. Bungle was good. The Arsenal Lakada says, hello from Tuana. Wow, okay. Big shout out to you, man. Guys over there. Big shout out to you. And guys, so as I said, I think for me, guys, a lot of people asking about Tierney, whether he will start. I don't necessarily think you need to change anything. I think, if Zinchenko drops out from that position, he goes into the number 8. That's where I want to see him. I want to see him further up the pitch. For Leicester, I looked at Arsenal. I'm not sure how much you followed Arsenal at the end of last season, Jamie, but we got rid of a ton of players, 21 players in total over the last 2 seasons, just dead wood. And in January, we were left with just 18 squad players. 4 of those players were academy players who had actually never started a Premier League game before. For Leicester, how I look at Leicester now is, and your outgoings, for a club that's not in Europe, do Leicester City have too many players? Is that something that, because if you look at the wage bill as well, they got they're in the top half of the league in wage bills. Is that something that they need to sort of trim down?
We have now, at the start of the window, we were about 4 or 5 players over the Premier League 25. And since up until now, we have got rid of about 4. I think we are down to the 25-man squad. And that's with getting rid of the likes of Schmeichel, Chowdhury today on loan. I can't think of the other 2, but we have kind of slimmed down the team. But now we've seen on Twitter and a lot of rumours saying that Rodgers has got the money now to kind of maybe get a few more players. But at this stage, he still needs to get a few gone to fill that 25 squad up, because he can't buy any more because they're just not going to fit in. So we've got to still slim down the squad as much as we can.
And so let's look at Arsenal's lineup now. Now, Arsenal's predicted lineup for me would be Ramsdale. Ben White would probably slot in again at right back unless they think Tomiyasu is going to last. I mean, Tomiyasu played in the under-21s game the other day when they beat Manchester United 3-1. So maybe it might be a game too soon. Me personally, I would start Ben White and then I'd give Tomiyasu 20 minutes just to sort of seep him in. I wouldn't take any chances. There's no reason to. I would go with then Saliba and Gabriel. Saliba is a Rolls Royce in the middle. Gabriel was our best defender last season. Funny now we're talking about Saliba is miles ahead of him. Very strange. 21 years old, just a baller. And you only have to see how he's played Mbappe for the 4 games to see how good he is. I would go with Saka, Partey, Xhaka, Zinchenko, Odegaard, Gabriel Jesus, and Martinelli. It would be pretty much the same as last week. Jamie, talk us through, would this be your provisional lineup? If not, where would you change it?
Like I say, when you look at how the formation is and you put 3-5-1-1, I think we're just lacking in the attack, and that's where I would take that one out of midfield and maybe do a 3-5-2. maybe take that actual attacking mid in and put Madison more in the middle, I guess. Or not, I'd say how it looks is probably different to how it probably viewed, but Ward, I'd keep the same. Castagna and Justin on wing backs are incredible when they are used properly, and it did show against Brentford well quite a bit. And Marty, I probably would drop. Again, someone said in the comments saying that he was a bit shaky, and I think he was right. I think we've got someone like Sunchu is yes a bit more hot-headed at times, but he's more of an actual defender. And if you want a job doing, he'll be there to do it. I think Evans and Fafana will stay in there. I think the game on Saturday will be the fight between Fafana and Saliba for me. Both played together at Saint Etienne, I think. So it just shows how far them two players can go. And then other than that, obviously Daka didn't start last game, but he came on. But the rest of it, I probably would keep the same.
So let's look at predictions, guys. Guys in the chat, throw your hands up. Let me hear what you guys think that the game will be. I'm going to go for a 2-0 home win. That place is just a fortress, and I think that if this was away, I'd be concerned. If this was at Leicester, I would probably take a draw. But I think home game, I think it would be 2-0 to Arsenal. Kuke has said 3-0 to Arsenal. 18 has gone for a draw. Adam and his Dirty Pants says new subscriber. Thank you very much, bro. Hit that like button, everybody, by the way. Stan has gone for 3-1 to Arsenal because, Jamie Vardy always hits the back of the net against us. I just hope that they keep him quiet because, this guy is in December or something like that. And he's just like, he's playing like he's 27, 28. Jamie Vardy is just timeless, man. Daniel saying, yo, how much I've missed. You missed quite a bit because these previews are only 20-minute podcasts, so we're just withering down, my friend. Mr. Bungo says, Arsenal to send them foxtrotting back home 3-0. What's your prediction going to be, Jamie?
I've said on our channel that I'm still optimistic. I think we always have a chance away to these big teams. We've done it before. Yeah, we didn't see it happen because obviously the last time we beat you at your ground was the year where no one could go to the ground. So, honestly, I can see us drawing. I'd take a draw right now, but I can see us winning. I can see us losing. It's all different. And I think, my honest opinion, I'd probably take a draw and I'd probably say 1-1. But my heart wants to say, I want to say a 3-2. I think I remember us losing to you 3-2 a few years back. And I think we'll do the opposite this year. And I think we'll win 3-2 against you at your place.
Excellent. Daniel says, I've been saying 2-0 to the Goons. Let's go. So one thing before we go, you do know that we have a Friday night Premier League show. And that's where we have fans that come in from various other teams. We have Man United fans that come in, Spurs, Man City, Brentford, West Ham. We have quite a bunch. Liverpool. Is that something that you're interested in? And again, you don't have to commit to yourself every Friday. It's just when you have the time, because it'd be nice to sort of get you back and talk about Leicester City and their results, especially when they're winning. So is that something you'd be up for, Jamie?
Yeah, of course. Obviously, if I'm around and you send me the link, I can always come on and pop on, depending on how busy I am. But yeah, I can always get on if I am free.
Brilliant, excellent. So thank you very much for that, guys, Jamie, and guys in the chat. Thank you very much. I think it's going to be a hell of a game, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what both teams are doing, especially because, as I said, I think Leicester for 65 minutes they kind of dominated that game, and they switched off. So I'm going to be looking for them to sort of really come on a lot harder at us. Will they press us as hard as Palace? I'm not sure. I don't know. But it all depends on the team sheet. But I think Leicester will be a much more dangerous outfit in September once they've started to improve that squad, because the squad, they've let players go. They haven't improved it yet. And I think September, I think they just need to hold on tight, get their sort of team behind them, tread a bit of water until the transfer window's over, reinforce, build that team, and I think they're going to be dangerous moving forward. So thanks for joining us, Jamie.
No worries.
And guys in the chat, Big up to you guys, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace out.